Hi, and welcome to Asana Academy. I'm Megan Hargrave, and welcome to a special edition of Asana Academy from sunny Northwest Florida. We are coming to you live on the eve of the first tropical storm of the evening, Tropical Storm Alberto, and I thought, what better way to welcome in the rain clouds than by clearing out some of the rain clouds in our practice. I thought we would talk about one of the elements that affects many of us in our yoga practice, which is wrist pain. A lot of us experience wrist pain or tenderness or soreness after lots of down dogging, chaturungas, plank poses, or particularly arm balances. So today we're going to walk through a few things. First, we're going to walk through correct hand placement and where your weight distribution should be through your hands in downward facing dog and plank pose. Secondly, I'm going to show you a stretch that you can use in your practice while flowing through a vinyasa or a flow. Third, I'm going to show you some table-based stretches. And then fourth, some stretches that you can actually take back into the office or into your day-to-day activities and day-to-day lifestyle where you can release the wrists out from other wrist-heavy actions like typing or computing or driving or picking up children or doing anything that is repetitive movement through the wrists. So first off, when we look at our down dog placement, there are a couple different ways we can think about placing our hands. The first way is when your hand is placed in down dog to really think about spreading the thumb and the pinky finger away from one another and grounding through this V shape in the hand. So grounding from the tip of the pinky down to the palm, the base of the palm, and then up through the thumb. This may feel to you like you're able to pull the weight out of your wrist and transfer it more into the forearm and into the hand. The second way is to think about the palm of the hand where the base of the finger, the first finger, and the base of the pinky finger meet, and then the base of the palm and the opposite base of the palm as a nice little square or a circle. And to think of this area on the palm as a little suction cup and to ground down through the four corners, 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the palm. And the goal is to then lift the palm up ever so slightly like you're suction cupping like a frog would, the four corners of the palm to the mat, but lifting through the center of the palm. So again, you're transferring the weight out of the wrist and into the forearm. So let's look at what practically this looks like in downward facing dog. So go ahead and join me in downward facing dog. First, I'm going to have you spread the fingers nice and wide, taking those pinky fingers and thumbs as wide as they'll go and placing them onto the mat. I'm going to have you press the heel of the hand in, and then the tip of the pinky to the tip of the thumb down, and then curl the toes, lift the hips, moving up and back to your downward facing dog. Now just to test this out, to notice if this variation feels best to you, we'll flow forward to plank pose, shoulders stacking right over the wrist creases. Notice if you can feel the actioning of the muscles in the forearm as opposed to the weight on the wrists. And then press again, keep that pressure into the pinky and the thumb, lift the hips up and back. So just take this a couple of times, moving, noticing if you can press from the tips of the fingers as you lift the hips up and back. The second one we'll come to is the suction cup piece. So you want the hands grounded, but the fingers won't be quite as wide. They'll be at a more comfortable neutral distance. Middle finger will be tracking directly towards the top of the mat, and the hands will be placed accordingly from there, with that middle finger pointing directly towards the top of the mat. From there, thinking of the four corners of the palms, suction cupping those four cups down, pressing the palms into the mat, and then lifting through the center of the palm, so you transfer the weight into the forearms. Curl the toes, lift the hips, come on back to downward facing dog. And again, just repeat that little flow, noticing which might feel better on your wrists. To me, I happen to like the thumb and pinky finger varietal. I find that pulls me out of my wrists a little bit more. The next time you end up in downward facing dog, walk the hands to the back of the mat. We're going to move into our first wrist stretch. So forward folding, we're going to take the palms of the hands and slide them palm face up underneath the feet. Now if you're like me and hamstrings are tight, you want to bend significantly into the knees so that you can bring the toes all the way to the wrist crease. You can see now my toes are still on the palm. So I kind of bend my knees a little bit more. The goal is to take the toes right to the wrist creases and then curl the toes down, pressing them into the mat so that you're getting this sense of stretch. And And if you'd like to play a little further, this is also prep for handstand. You can shift the weight into the balls of the feet and lift the heels ever so slightly off the mat. Just releasing those wrist creases out. Then as you're ready, transferring the weight back to the heels, sliding the palms back out, taking the palms back in front of you, and we'll all meet in a table pose. Again, grounding down through all four corners of the palms, I'd like you to think about the palm as a clock. We're going to rotate clockwise through the palms. So just beginning to take some circles, rotating from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, to 6 o'clock, to 9 o'clock. We've got a little bit of that tropical storm breeze coming in, and then going the opposite way counterclockwise from 12 to 9 to 6 to 3. The goal isn't to move the hips, it's to move through the weight distribution in the palms. What this does is pull the weight again out of the wrist and help to just gently move the teeny tiny facets in the wrist joint. Then you're going to take the palms and turn them palm face down, fingertips towards the knees, and lean back. You're stretching out the front of the wrists here. Bringing the body back forward, turn the palms back facing forward. This time, take your right palm and turn it palm down, a palm face up, the back of the hand down. Again, lean back. You want to do this one wrist at a time. The weight on the back of the hand is quite significant, so you may find 2 wrists at a time is a little too intense. And as you're ready, you can flip the other palm up, back of the hand down, and shift the hips back again. And finally, coming to our desk set stretches, we'll come to a comfortable seat here, Sukhasana. We'll take those wrists together, and I'm going to encourage you to just rotate, keeping the wrists connected all the way through this. You're just going to circle through the wrist joints, moving forward. We're just thinking about having one continuous tie to the wrist joint and just letting the wrists move through naturally and organically as they will. And then taking the wrists in the opposite direction. From here, you'll send that right hand out. Take the left hand and gently pull back on the fingertips, again stretching through the front of the wrist. And then you can flip the fingertips down and begin to pull the fingertips back towards your body. Good, this time we're going to take palm face up, turn the fingertips down, and pull the fingertips back towards the body. And then again, just flipping those fingertips up to the sky, gently pulling them back towards the body. We'll repeat on the opposite side. Palm pushes away, fingertips pull back, and then fingertips drop down, pulling them back towards the body. This time turning the palm face up, fingertips move down towards the earth, again pulling fingertips back towards the body, and then flipping the fingertips to the sky, pulling those fingertips back. You can finish again with another set of wrist releases here, moving through. Really nice option for those of you that work at a desk or do a lot of computing or a lot of driving. These wrist stretches are really nice to take into off the mat and into your yoga off the mat. And with that, I thank you for joining us for a special edition of Asana Academy, a wrist release from sunny Northwest Florida. I'm Megan Hargrave. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you same time, same place on the mat next week. Namaste.